Between the two of them.
The inside of Coates.
Barker gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the home of British motorsport. That's right, it is Silverstone, and we are back with a bang. We cannot wait for this. It's the BMW M4 GT4 Sprint Series. Myself, Jack Oliphant, and Becky has not had her voice changed. There's been a last-minute change in the commentary box, and I'm happy to say that Jack Sant is alongside me. Jack, how the devil are we?
I'm good, you?
Yes, very good indeed. I'm excited to catch more BMW racing. I believe I did help Richard John Neal launch this series, but it was going to be a fair few rounds ago at this point. This is round 7, of course, so it's going to be a bit of a baptism of fire. Have you done much of the commentary before now on VRRC?
No, just once before at Imola.
Ah, okay. Yeah, Imola. Nice. I'm looking forward to seeing how Silverstone gets on. Normally very good for racing. As you can see here, the rest of the calendar in front of us now. We were to Spa, Watkins Glen, Bahrain, Sebring, Imola, Road Atlanta. Now we're at the penultimate round of the championship. Silverstone is where we find ourselves before we head back over to the other side of the pond to Road America, which I'm sure will be absolutely epic as a finale. If you're wondering what a championship fight might look like, well, you may well be disappointed because the championship table is looking a little bit one-sided. To be honest, there it is. Jack Smith, lo and behold, the holy grail of sim racing of Jack Smith is well out in front of his DK-powered machine. Thomas Potter is in second place. There's a little bit of a closer battle between himself, well, the top 3 actually. Sorry, no, to get into the top 3. I will get my words out eventually. You can tell I haven't done this for a couple of weeks. Andy Dorman is in third place, but Andy Carroll and Rich Hayden hot on the heels. Only 20 points back from Andy Dorman is Andy Carroll, and Rich Hayden in what I believe is, I think, his most successful VRRC series that I can personally remember, doing very well inside the top 5. Oliver Gibson and Lee Piercy, only 1 point separates those two. And in fact, actually, if you look all the way down from 2nd to 9th, it is still very close, particularly 3rd to 9th. Actually, Thomas Potter has done very well indeed. On to the second page of the championship tables, and you will see that Ollie Smith has unfortunately not turned up at Imola, but he has still been an ever-present name apart from that. The likes of Chris Blakey, and you can say all the way down to the likes of John Wilkie in the North Scotland racing car. You are allowed a drop round, apparently, but I'm not going to try and attempt any of the drop round calculations because it's not my forte, and frankly, Richard John Neal can do it in the next round. When it comes down to the wire, I'm sure. As I mentioned, Jack Smith is well ahead. We've actually had 25 cars enter, which is absolutely brilliant. It's a shame the likes of Daniel Heaps and Josh Martin couldn't make more of an appearance. Josh Martin making a fleeting appearance at Sebring. He was always one of the drivers that was very good fun to watch, so it's a shame that we don't get more of Josh, but it is nice to see that so many drivers have tried to take part in this fantastic championship. Speaking of this championship, well, Road Atlanta has come and it has gone. And it's no surprise to see the top dog is Jack Smith. Oliver Gibson, though, his brother, in second place. Not too shabby whatsoever. The DK-powered motorsport machine in first and second. And that is another reason why Oliver is sort of teaming himself up the table. Thomas Potter securing that second place. John Jones, though, the driver of the round. Big up to John Jones. Always nice to see him. He tends to get a driver of the round once every so often, and it's always nice to see that he's doing well still here at VRRC. So, that is last week. That is how the championship shapes up. The shape in front of us is Silverstone. It should be familiar to pretty much every motorsport fan in Britain. It's the full GP loop. We're not messing around with international or the national. Give them everything we've got, and hopefully the drivers will reciprocate as well. It's going to be brilliant going into the likes of Copse, Maggots, Beckett, overtaking opportunities into Stowe, Vale and Club, and even into Village and the Farm Curve as well. It's always an interesting attempt to overtake into through Farm Curve and into Village. So with that being said, we've got a hot lap. I imagine it's by Jack Smith. I'll be honest, I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. So this will be as much of an education for me as it is to you. Let's take a look. So, I apparently ran through that a little bit quicker than I was anticipating, or that everybody else was anticipating. Either they forget how quickly I talk here at VRRC, or they're just used to Richard John Neal time these days with his commentary. Either way, we have got about 5 minutes until race 1 starts. So the BMW M4 GT4 Sprint can just take a backseat, let's say, for the next 2 minutes or so. And let's get a little bit more details over our new co-commentator, Jack Sant. I've already asked you how you were, Jack, so I won't bother asking you again. But for everybody out there wondering what on earth you're doing in the co-comments box, what have you driven before? What has been the race series that has brought you the education to come on here and chat about racing?
The Fiesta Junior Championship.
And how has that gone? You're allowed to say that we're not being paid by them, so you're allowed to say how it's gone this season.
Horrible. I've disliked it every session this year.
What's the plan for next year then? Let's move on to the forward thinkingness. We don't want to dwell on potentially negative stuff. What is the next step for you?
The ST240 Championship.
And what is that, because it's the similar car and you just think it's a natural step up, or is that like a series where you really think you can show off and get sort of better as a racing driver?
I think it's where I can push myself past my limits and have a car that will support us with proper race slicks, and it's a lot more competitive, so it'll be a lot more better racing as well.
There are some real seasoned pros in the ST240s, aren't there? I mean, there's people that just sort of stick around for years and years and years because they love racing in it. How do you think you're going to stack up going into the series? As a bit of a newbie, you're only 16 years old, of course. What's the ambition for next year?
Just to put points on the championship and just see how it goes. I don't want to push next year hard. I just want to have a nice, relaxing year to get used to the car.
A nice, relaxing year in motorsport. I don't think that's a sentence has ever been wider of the mark of what motorsport is really about. It's a very stressful life to live, isn't it? But once you're in motorsport, it really does hook you, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's very addictive.
How did it start for you then? Were you in karting beforehand?
Yeah, I've been karting for about 10 years. Then I switched over to Fiestas, and then I started the Fiesta Juniorship when I was 14.
Wow, so you racing for 10 years. So you were racing since you were 4. What did you race in originally?
A little Bambino go-kart.
Oh, I love the Bambinos. I've commentated on Bambinos before. They're little rocket things, although the kids look so small in them. It's absolutely ridiculous. Honestly, looking, I don't know how parents can let them into the karts. It's amazing, really, isn't it? But right, one last thing, Jack. Have you ever done much sim racing stuff yourself?
Nothing much, just messing on with me mates on the sim, and that's it.
Well, this is not messing around. This is serious business that we're going to be getting into, Jack. And I'm looking forward to getting your insight in potentially how you expect some of these races to go and the racecraft that these drivers are going to put on for us, because we only have about a minute until our first race. And if you're thinking, if you've just tuned in, like I have, it's been a while since I've last covered one of these. We no longer cover qualifying. Qualifying is done well before 7 o'clock. We go into 3 races, and frankly, they're all pretty stellar as well. There's various ways of how they configure the grid based off qualifying, championship position, and all that sort of thing. In fact, no, they don't do qualifying anymore. Sorry, that is outdated information I've just given you. They did qualifying on the first round because there wasn't a championship order, and I'm pretty sure it's the grid 1 is some sort of championship order. I'll get that all confirmed to you maybe halfway through the race. If Rich Hayden crashes out, he can tell me if he's not too mad anyway, that is. But looks to it, we've got Chris Blakey on pole position, and the likes of Jamie Page in 2nd place, Lee Pearson in 3rd, Rich Hayden is in 4th, Andy Dorman in 5th place, Thomas Potter in 6th, and Jack Smith in 7th, which means it's a reverse grid of the championship in the top 7 positions. Complicated? Forget about it, because we are about to go racing here in the BMW Sprint, and it's a good start made by the person just behind Catherine Potter, which I believe is John Jones. At the front end of the order, it's looking likely that Chris Blakey's going to get away with this, but Jamie Page versus Scott Bugner is certainly heating up. Scott Bugner going to be on the inside going into Village. Late on the brakes he's going to have to be. And indeed he does. Can he keep it on the circuit? Yes, he does. Jack Smith has moved his way up from 7th into 6th and is somewhat funneling himself through. There goes Rich Hayden. I probably will get my answer before the race is done if his car is slightly broken. It doesn't look like it is. I think he's just been turned around. I probably won't ask him any questions in case he's a little bit angry. Thomas Potter's in 7th place, though. Remember, 2nd of the championship. He started in 6th. That means he's dropped down into 7th, and he's under pressure from Jamie Page on the outside. In fact, no, that's Thomas Potter trying to overtake Jamie Page, isn't it, actually? Who has dropped down the order somewhat a little bit. Really, that's a bit of a fast and frantic opening couple of corners. Jack, how do you sort of feel Chris Blakey will be feeling right at the front with those rearview mirrors filled with cars battling it out? That must be the nicest feeling in motorsport.
Oh, it must be a lovely feeling. I've never been there myself, so...
Neither have I, that's why I was hoping you've been. No, I can imagine it is a lovely sight to see, but he's got Scott Bugner. Now, Scott is a really quick driver. So is Jack Smith in 3rd place. And when you do have people behind you that you're very pleased to be ahead of, but you realize there's quite a long race to go, do you feel like when you're in the car, that pressure starts to build up over time?
Yeah, every lap after lap, the pressure starts building up, and then starts affecting your driving if you're not concentrating properly.
Yep, so they're going to have to start concentrating, hopefully. But it's by the looks of it, Chris Blakey has already started. Now, this is Paul Laramie on the outside, going a little move around Stowe. Tell you what, if the tyres have still got the grip to do that, nope, there they go. It's a commentator's curse, just touching that green AstroTurf on the left-hand side. You're always going to run into a little bit of trouble, aren't you? So it's a little bit of a tough test, that one, for for the spinner, who I've completely forgotten who it was actually off the top of my head, as I'm trying to rearrange my notes because my timing tower seems to have disappeared on my website anyway, which is a bit of a shame because last time I saw, I think Scott Bugner and Jack Smith were doing very quick. It's now returned, and the quickest sector times is Jack Smith in sector 2 and 3. Chris Blakey, the quickest sector 1. That's no surprise. They started the race. But Jack Smith seems to be on a bit of a charge. I'm moving up to 3rd place. Championship leader by quite some distance, Jack. I can imagine that he's got all the confidence in the world in that 3rd place.
Yes, he seems to be having the pace as well to slowly catch them. So.
Ooh, there's a big spin from Jamie Page, though, isn't there? Getting out wide through the corner. I don't know if he hit the side of the circuit. I'm hoping he hadn't hit the bollards or the barriers or anything like that, and that he can get back nice and clean. As Andy Dorman now puts a little bit of pressure on Lee Piercy. Now, this could be quite interesting because he's going down towards Cops. Is Silverstone GP a circuit you've raced at before, Jack?
Not yet, just done some practicing on it, but I absolutely love the GP layout, especially through Maggots and Beckett. It gives you such a buzz. Yeah.
It's fantastic. And as soon as you start racing on it, trust me, you'll love it even more because there are plenty of overtaking opportunities that I'm sure the likes of Thomas Potter and Andy Dorman particularly will be trying to use and abuse. Jack Smith will be sniffing around as well because that's 2nd place. He's absolutely desperate to find his way through Scott Bugner and start catching up to Chris Blakey. I've actually been very impressed by Chris Blakey's pace. He's just set another purple sector 1. Jack Smith set another purple sector 2. So he's clearly very quick through that Maggots and Beckett section. And as we see, Andy Dorman versus Lee Piercy with Thomas Potter waiting in the wings to pounce. Lee Piercy going wide. Is he going to manage to get back on? He's lost quite a bit of time. Andy Dorman trying to pile the amount of pressure on going through the chicane. No, it's not going to happen. What can Thomas Potter do? It's a classic through goes Hamilton section of the circuit, and I think Thomas Potter may well get through himself, going down towards the first corner on the international loop, of course, Abbey, of course, and it's going to be Potter on the inside. Now, Jack, that's a brave move to hold it around the outside, but that's exactly what Andy Dorman's done.
Yeah, brilliant move. And it looked to me that he had enough grip to just keep it there in a very clean race.
Yeah, for the time being, I'm hoping that continues, don't we? Because it's very painful. You were telling me while that hot lap was going on, very painful when people aren't racing quite as clean as you'd want them to be. We'll get back to that point in a minute because Jack Smith has found his way up the inside. He's crowbarred a move up the inside of Scott Bugner. And going through Brooklands, he's going to have the positions. 2nd place is done and dusted. Didn't even need to fight through Luffield. Very good move by Jack Smith. He just used the momentum off the previous corner, got the run, got the slipstream, and who he goes. Chris Blakey is now going to have a bit of a harder time than he was hoping for. He was probably thinking that Scott Bugner would make his car a little bit wider for maybe 4 more minutes, and then he would just have to survive for 10. As Thomas Potter now looking at the inside. Now that is a little bit treacherous through Cops, but he's done that really well. Cops is not a corner you would normally think you'd throw it up the inside, is it, Jack?
No, not at all. It's a very high-speed corner, but a very delicate braking zone as well. So you wouldn't expect it on the inside.
Delicate braking zone is a way I haven't heard many corners be described, but it could not be more apt, to be honest, could you? Because the way you come off the brakes really makes the corner. It's all about timing and when you dip the nose in and get the grip on the front end of the car and therefore the rear, as it looks like Scott Bugner is trying to go around the outside of Stowe. We've seen a couple of people try that already. It didn't happen. There's no undercut there to be had either, but the more that these two fight, the more it will work into the hands of Chris Blakey. There's a massive dive at the inside by Scott Bugner. Surely there's going to be contact. No, there isn't. Jack Smith saw it in his rear view mirrors and his left side mirrors. He just about managed to give Scott Bugner enough room on the apex, and Scott managed to get the car stopped. How much trust do you have to have in your fellow drivers to pull something like that, Jack?
You have to have a lot of trust in your drivers to do that.
It's a bit dangerous, isn't it? Because if you're Jack Smith and you're in second place and you see someone last minute like Scott Bugner's doing, I thought was about to do just again, it's so easy just to snap the wheel or snap the brake, isn't it? And then end up in a spin yourself.
Yes, it's very easy to misjudge where they are and then get rotated by the other person.
Yeah, it's a very diplomatic way of saying being hit up the rear end, rotated by the other person. You're absolutely right, though. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a bad phrasing, but Jack Smith is just about held on, and now 0.4 of a second is the gap. But crucially, the gap to Chris Blakey is grown by 0.8 of a second. So that's probably allowed Chris maybe 1 or 2 laps extra of free running that he can get his head down and try and put in some consistent laps that he is doing. Thomas Potter has just set the purple sector 1. Lee Pearcey also going quicker. Daniel Heaps in 7th place going quicker. Caden Cook going quicker. There's quite a lot of improvements. Rich Hayden's cracked inside the top 10 yet again, but he's got quite some distance to cover before he catches up to Catherine Potter. In fact, pretty much everybody outside the top 6 are a little bit spaced out, aren't they, really? So the closest battles that we've got out there on circuit, second place, well, realistically, it's the 5 and 5th, isn't it? With Thomas Potter, Andy Dorman. Potter getting his way through on Dorman. That's allowed Lee Pearcey to pull away quite nicely. Lee Pearcey is a BMW driver, so you would expect him to have his head round these cars a little bit, even if they're not exactly the same as the cars he drives. I think he drives in the 1 Series, which is a fantastic little championship. Thomas Potter, though, is appreciating that this 5th place is not going to be all that easy, though, because Andy Dorman is absolutely pulled off one of the moves of the day already, Jack. I'm going to call it here early because that could be sensational, but Thomas Potter's holding on just about cleanly enough as well. These two still going side by side. I thought he was going to hit the sausage curve on the inside. Wide goes Dorman. He's kept his nose in it for the time being. How much longer they can go side by side is pretty much anyone's guess. And I think Dorman just pulled out of it. Probably the wise move going through Abbey.
Yes, definitely wise move going through Abbey. But they're brilliant drivers, them two, especially when I was watching them at Imola. Them two were battling like cat and dog. It was brilliant to watch.
Yeah, how was Imola from your perspective then? Because it's a good circuit to race at, in my opinion. Sometimes it can, on the sim, it can be a little bit abused, can't it? Did you feel like the drivers did that circuit justice?
I think the drivers did very well on that track, but it just didn't look like there was many lunging points or many overtaking points around Imola.
No, it's, they need to somewhat really get probably a car that they can just lunge it in. I always vote they should just do MX5 championships and Ginetta G40s and stuff like that, where they can just absolutely throw the car in 100%. I always think that's quite entertaining. Having said that, the M4 GT4s are very entertaining cars to drive, and apparently very planted, very good. I think Jack Smith was actually one of the drivers that really... they've all equal setups, so I think Jack Smith was the one who helped develop that setup as well. Here is Rich Hayden, who's obviously been somewhat sent to the back of the queue, and he's now managing to catch up to Catherine Potter. He's clearly got a lot of pace, as Rich, because I mentioned his name about a lap ago, saying there was a big gap. It's about 1.6 seconds. He's managed to pull that back to about 0.3 of a second, and look at that. He's going for the move. Oh, my days. That's... I mean, I think that Catherine Potter missed the apex by quite some distance, but to pull a move through Maggots, Beckers and Church is some feat, isn't it, Jack? It's a very difficult set of corners where your car's right on the edge of grip.
Oh, them set of corners, I don't like trusting cars going through at all. Never mind trying to overtake through it, so that's fair play to Rich.
Yeah, indeed. It's difficult to get the maximum amount of grip out of the car. And when you consider that these aren't short races, I know the drivers have probably got to grips with the car at this point now and figured out how long the tyres last and how much grip there is in certain parts of the circuit and all that sort of thing. But you do get the impression that it's still very difficult skill to go through there at top pace and going side by side. Right, as we move a little bit further forward, the gaps have started to pull out a little bit, apart from this one. Now, Chris Blakey's done a top-notch job. Make no mistake about it. His last lap was a 2-minute 8.5. His best lap was a 2-minute 8.4. He's being very consistent. However, now Jack Smith has got clean air. That last lap was half a second quicker. 2-minute 8.042. And that is his fastest lap of the race, due to the fact that obviously he was stuck behind Scott Bugner for quite some time, or at least battling with him. Now, from your perspective, Jack, what Chris probably needs to do, from my perspective anyway, is if Jack is going to try and pull up to the back of him, is to make his car, park it on the white line and try and encourage Scott Bugner to have a little lunge again.
Yes, absolutely. I would make sure that if he's catching and he knows he's got the pace, just be very defensive and let Scott catch it up and then have a three-way battle, because 99% of the time, second and third drop off because them two are trying to fight each other. And first then starts pulling away.
And we've already seen that happen, haven't we? Because Scott Bugner and Jack Smith were pretty much throwing the kitchen sink at each other. Thomas Potter, again, setting purple sectors, very quick in fifth place, but doesn't seem to be able to link together the lap. Although, having said that, he has done a 2-minute 8 dead, which is almost on par with Jack Smith. I mean, there's a couple of hundredths in it, but that's about it. Everybody else is well above that, realistically. Rich Hayden's at a 208.4, which is quicker than Chris Blakey by 400ths of a second. So I was saying that Rich has got pace. He's clearly proving it. He's catching up to Caden Cook by quite some distance, as the fastest lap of the race now does go from Jack Smith to Thomas Potter, as Chris Blakey is starting to miss a few apexes, isn't it? I mean, there's nothing really wrong with missing farm, but you cannot miss village. He's missed it. He's let Jack Smith through. There is no defense. There is no slowing him down. Jack, when you're in that position, that is a cardinal sin, isn't it? You cannot miss your apex if you're planning on trying to hold people up.
No, not at all. You have to just drive like you would drive if you were in a clear air, and just stay focused and then keep yourself calm and collected.
Easier said than done, isn't it? I think every racing driver up and down the country on their first couple of years of racing will probably tell you, yeah, I know that theory, but that's a bit different when you're sat in the car, even virtually, isn't it? Because ultimately, you want to win races, don't you?
Yeah, I made the mistake at Donington Park. I thought I was on the yellow flags. I didn't cover me inside, and I lost out on the third place.
Very difficult indeed. Yeah, trust me. It's I have a long list of stories of how I threw away plenty of places and race winning positions and everything like that. But normally they used to have a commentator on here with me called Andy McEwen, who I think has probably commentated on your stuff a little bit if you've been in the Fiestas and the VRRC package. And he always used to love. We commentated together for about 3 years, and he used to love bringing up the fact that I used to throw away places like they were. Like it was water down the drain or something like that. It was very much his favourite pastime, I got the impression of. Chris Blakey is somewhat keeping up with Jack Smith. I'm actually quite impressed with how he's done over the course of this lap. But Scott Bugner is starting to get reeled back into this battle, isn't it? So we may well see second and third drop off as they start to battle, but it may not be the second and third drivers that we were expecting when we were talking about this a couple of laps ago. Thomas Potter has got himself up to fourth place, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't there a lap ago. Andy Dorman's in fifth, and I'm just trying to see if there's been a big drop-off. Was it Lee Piercy, potentially, who's dropped behind all these drivers? I don't know if there's been a problem. Daniel Heaps has now ended up behind Andy Dorman. I'm not entirely sure who has been off the circuit, but I'll try and figure that out later on. Rich Hayden has got up ahead of Caden Cook, so after trying to catch up to the tune of about 2 seconds in a lap, he has managed to do it and get past. So he's got a long way to go, 6.5 seconds before he catches up to 7th place. But by the pace that he's been showing, there's absolutely no reason why he can't do that. Scott Bugner with a green sector 1 will be not good news for Chris Blakey, although, having said that, there is not that long to go, Jack, to be honest. This race has flown past 4 minutes. That's roughly 2 laps, isn't it, from this point? Now, Chris just needs to learn from the mistake, isn't it? But that's difficult to do when you're in the heat of battle.
Oh, it's very hard to do that when you're in a battle. But by hopefully by the looks of things, Scott isn't catching by much, and Chris is slowly learning from his mistakes and hitting the apexes.
It's amazing, though, the difference between apexes that Scott Bugner has taken. If you're looking at him through the track, it's not just the corner that we just focused back on him then. He's absolutely all over him. His car is almost driving on the inside of the circuit. Now, I don't know what the track limits are around here or what the, what shall we say, the severity of the track limits and how they're measured are on the sim. But I would have thought Scott Bugner would be cutting a little bit fine. This corner particularly coming up the right-hander. I mean, look at that. He's pretty much all over the grass, isn't it? I'm not sure it's even faster, but he's all over the grass. If there isn't a sausage curb there, he's absolutely mullering it. Now, is that making him any faster though? Because he seems to have dropped off a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't look as quick as Chris's line through there, but I don't know. I'm not too sure with that one.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because when you're trying to muller the apexes and you're going over that much, the problem is there is a little bit of slip there. If you get your outer wheels onto the curb, you may well find that the car slips away because ultimately the grip is coming from the outside tyres and you're trying to lean on the tyre wall as much as you possibly can. If you go on a curb, they might slip. You might end up sliding wide. And if you're going sideways, you're not going forwards, are you? And that's the ultimate sort of first lesson of motorsport that people try to teach you on track anyway, is the fact that you really got to keep your tyres and car facing in the right direction, no wheel spin. No matter how dramatic or how amazing it feels or looks, it isn't fast. And when you're mullering all over the inside, if you start to slip back out and then have to re-grip on the track, it probably means you're not at the optimal grip state. And you get the impression maybe that's what Scott Bugner is suffering from when he's absolutely murdering these curbs over the inside. Look at the top end of your screen here. They're all cutting it quite handsomely, but Scott Bugner is all the way over every single one of those curbs. This one
Especially
at the end
through
here,
this left-hander.
yeah, it's massive, isn't it, really? And I haven't said that. Chris Blakey is not even on the circuit. I don't think that was on purpose. But it makes a massive difference, doesn't it, Jack, when you start slipping and sliding?
Oh yeah, then it starts like, especially when you've got long straights afterwards, you'll start losing tenths up on tenths. That's what I got. That's how I messed up in racing as well. Like for the first year, I couldn't get it right.
To be fair, I don't think anybody really does. Was that in car racing? Because car racing is quite different to karting, isn't it? There's a big learning curve in terms of how you lean on the suspension and stuff like that.
Yeah, this is in car racing with the open diffs. I would let the wheels spin and I would lose tenths in places.
You'd also end up losing tyre life, I imagine, especially in the front-wheel drive car, wouldn't you? It's really tricky to get to grips with it. Front-wheel drive is something that I've never been able to do, and I've tried multiple times, not in real life necessarily, but in the sim. I just cannot get the cars round, to be honest. I don't know how you do it. It's knowing how much power to go before you do end up just understeering, and understeering is horrible, isn't it?
Oh, I don't like the feeling of understeering, because once you start understeering, then you just know your wallet's getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
It's so true because tyres aren't cheap, are they?
No,
they're
not at all.
absolutely necessary, which is a little bit brutal. Luckily, on a simulator, you don't have that problem necessarily, do you? But it does cost you in form of time. So these drivers do now have to be slightly smarter about how they go about things. And I do get the impression that Scott Bugner maybe has run out of tyres. Now, I think, yes, the timer has ticked down to 0. This is the last lap. And I think Jack Smith is about to cross the line to take the victory here today, unless we're on the international circuit, which we are because it's the GP loop. So I can't hold this excitement for the next half a lap. But Jack Smith on the national layout won that race. And as we go around to the GP layout, I imagine he will probably retain it unless there's going to be some big accident. That's a massive amount of curb that everybody takes there, isn't there? Jack, Rich Hayden, it's difficult to recover, isn't it, from a first corner or second corner or third corner, whenever he span, but a spin basically at the start of the race. It's hard to recover from that, but he's managed to get his foot back down and he's put in some quick lap times, hasn't he?
Yes, he's done very well to recover on that one, getting himself back up to 8th place.
Yeah, normally I'm free-flowing with my taking the mick out of Rich Hayden, but I have to say, credit where it's due, he has done a good job, and he is in for a fair championship shout himself in terms of getting into the top 3. No one's touching this man, though, because last time out, he was top of the podium. This time out at Silverstone, he has started as he means to go on. Back on the top step, on the home of British motorsport. He is leading this championship. He has led this race, and he wins here in the first race of the evening. Chris Blakey holds on to second place. And to be fair, he was quite quick as well, I think, through all of that. It's a bit of a shame from his perspective that Jack Smith is a bit of a monster. Scott Bugner is in third. Thomas Potter made his way up to fourth place. Andy Dorman in fifth. Daniel Heaps in sixth. Lee Piercy seventh. Eighth, as we just mentioned, was Rich Hayden. Caden Cook in ninth. And the top 10 was rounded out by Paul Laramie. And as the rest of the drivers filter across the line, Jack, one last thought on that first race. It was a little bit hectic to start with, didn't it? It managed to cool itself down at the end. How do you feel like these drivers are going to go into race 2 and 3, knowing that now they've got 20 minutes of racing under their belt?
I think they're going to go into race 2 and 3 with a nice, confident look into the race and have a nice old clean race again.
That's the hope, isn't it? Clean racing. That's what we want to hear, indeed. And as Scott Ferguson crosses, is about to cross the line, I'm going to send you over to a bit of an ad break. Oh, no, well, cross. Oh, my days. Have a look at one of our sponsors, one of our partners, before we have a chat to our top 3.
I've had a lot of challenges in my life, and Helen was always there, supporting me through everything. Today, we're facing a new challenge. Helen has been diagnosed with a terrible disease. Dementia is nothing less than a worldwide epidemic. Formula One moves fast. By contrast, medical research can be painfully slow. We want to bring some of our Formula One technology into the laboratories. Our charity, Race Against Dementia, will help to accelerate the pace of dementia research. Let's beat dementia together.
So, Scott Bugner is the first driver we're going to be chatting to in the top 3. Across the line in third place. Scott Bugner, I mean, it was a good dicey battle with Jack Smith at the beginning. Congratulations on third place to start with. I probably should say that first. But a good battle with Jack Smith. In the end, some big lunges from yourself. Very entertaining, but couldn't quite make a mistake.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I wasn't expecting a podium. Jack Smith literally sent me a setup about 4 minutes before I got into race 1. So probably a thank you to him, to be honest with you. And I said to him, I'll let you through just for doing that. He went, no, I want a battle. So I thought, well, you said it now, so I'm going to have to send you a couple of times. But yeah, no, it was all right. It was good fun, actually. I really enjoyed it.
It did look like an enjoyable battle. When you say you got given a setup moments before you got into the race, have you not been racing in this championship? To be fair, I see you in 9th place. So have you not had a setup? Because isn't it a fixed setup?
It's a fixed setup, but obviously you can still change like your rear wing and brake bias and other little sort of bits and bobs. But I literally I haven't been on the sim for a couple of weeks. I've been busy with work and stuff, so I've not touched it. So yeah, and then I kind of got home from work and thought, oh, I've got enough time, I might do it now. And then I texted Andy and he was like, oh no, I'm in Spain. I was like, oh, that's good to know. So then I asked Jack and he kindly enough gave me a setup.
Well, that is very kind of him, indeed. I mean, what was the tyres like at the end there? Because I thought once you caught up to Chris that maybe you were going to have a little bit more of a lunge or something, but you didn't ever seem quite close enough.
I'm still kind of trying to find the limit of where I can go on it, because it's just taking a little while to get used to it. So I literally did about 3-4 laps practice before we started. And then yeah, I kind of got into a bit of the rhythm, and then I just started to, I think, overdrive it. Once I started to catch Chris, I think I just drove it a bit too hard. But I kind of know what I'm doing now for the next one. So starting from the back, I'll get my elbows out and get stuck right in.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is pretty much music to my ears, Scott, because I want to see you elbows out and getting stuck in. It's been a pleasure chatting to you again. Long time no speak, really. it's been quite nice. But congratulations on third place, and potentially we'll be speaking to you after the next race.
Fingers crossed, thank you.
And on to second place, we have Chris Blakey. Chris, you did an exceptional job leading that race for as long as you did. I mean, ultimately, you didn't quite have the pace, but realistically, you did brilliantly. Talk me through your nerves for the first 10 minutes.
Trying to not to kill myself in this car, not to understeer off an embarrassment like I've been doing with several practice laps around this, because it's a bit of an understeery barge. This one, I'm not a fan, but it was just kind of trying to get the tyres warm and not too warm, and then keep the pace. But then took a little mistake, let Jack past, and then just thought I'd try and keep on his bumper. And obviously Scott was nibbling away, and I thought Scott can get quick in any car very quickly. So I know he had no practice, but I thought he'd catch very, very quickly. So yeah, which he did. So see what happens in the next one.
What was the little mistake then? Because obviously we saw it, but was it just snatching a brake, or was it looking in your mirrors while you hit the brake zone?
Possibly braking a centimetre too late, which seems to be the way of it.
Drink driving though.
Not yet. See how the evening goes. The fridge is but steps away. Yeah, it was just like you brake half a centimetre later in these cars, and you end up 6 miles away from where you should be. It seems to be a very tricky thing, but yeah, I think just missed my braking point by an inch, and that's it. Off she went. So it is what it is. So.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it, really? Because when you got two people closing you down that you know are that fast, it's easy for me to sit here and say, oh, you shouldn't drive in your mirrors and all that sort of thing. I mean, that goes out the window once you're in the heat of battle, don't you? You're really desperate for that win, and all of a sudden people are filling your mirrors. Yeah,
you see the little timer, the gaps on the dashboard counting down, the gap getting slower and slower and slower, and I thought, I was keeping Scott in a good 2-second gap, I think, and then a little mistake, and then obviously Jack came through, and away we go.
Away we go indeed. You did really well, though, to keep with him and to lead as well as you did. I did think that maybe that gap would get decimated a little bit quicker, but a big improvement from what I've seen earlier in the season. Chris, congratulations on the second place.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, I haven't had a great. I had a couple of races off because I had a bit of a big crash in real life. So I took a couple of ways out the chair, and then just come back and have some fun. So.
Well, that's exactly what sim racing is here to do, isn't it? Get you back on the horse and get you having fun again in motorsport.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Congratulations on second place, Chris, and we'll potentially speak to you after race 2.
So here we go. Cheers, guys.
And on to our race winner. We've got a couple of minutes, about 4 minutes actually, till the race starts. So I don't want to be told off by Rich. Jack, massive congratulations. Another first place to your name. You're making this series look a little bit easy, I'll be honest.
It's definitely not me. I can guarantee you that. There's not a lap where I'm not pushing my hardest, so it's it may look that way, but you can bet I'm sweating buckets here. So yeah,
no,
it's
to be fair, I do think I was doing the other two a little bit of a disservice there. Really,
yeah,
Scott was pushing you all the way through the first 10 minutes of that race, and then Chris wasn't easy to drop either when you actually did get past him. He was self-aware enough to say that it was a little bit of a mistake, but I think you had your work cut out trying to get past both of them there, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, both of them guys raced really, really cleanly, and they're proper. I can never guess where either of them are going to go. So it's like you really got to figure it out with Scott and Chris, and they're proper racers, proper club racers. So it's the racing's fantastic, and I always look forward to it. Every time I see them like in front of me or behind me or wherever, it's always a pleasure to race against those guys. So yeah, and the racing was mega there as well. So yeah, it's just testament to them guys. And yeah, I mean, it was so close, wasn't it, throughout that whole race? I think we were dicing between a couple of attempts every lap. So if I made a mistake, it would have been, it could have been over for me as well. But I was just lucky enough that I caught my mistakes just before I made them, and we got through to the end of the race. So yeah, super happy.
when people often describe other drivers as you don't know where they're going to go, they're so unpredictable in the way that they move the car. That can sometimes be construed as an insult almost, can't it? But that's not what you mean there, is it? It's in a way that they're sort of tactically thinking about where to put the car and putting it cleanly there.
Yeah, there's a skill to it to becoming unpredictable and to be in control of it when you're being unpredictable as well. That's what the key is there. So if you can manage that, it's like a top tier skill that you can have in racecraft. It's just something else, and yeah, it kind of puts people off like overtaking you and stuff. And yeah, I just go into it anyway. We see what happens. So it's a bit of fun in it. So yeah, we'll try again race 2, see what we can do. And yeah, I think I've got the same guys around me for this race at the start as well. We've got Thomas in there as well, which should be interesting. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I've got to let you go, obviously, within the next 30 seconds, but break us down very quickly. What is the grid setups these days like? Because VRRC has changed how it's doing things, and to be honest, I completely forgot about to look into it. So are you at the back now?
It's reverse top 12? I think it's top 12.
It was a full reverse grid in the first race of the season.
Yeah, so we switched. So I think, yeah, it's top 12, and I think the final one is full reverse. So yeah, you got the next race after this one, which is full. Yeah, I mean it's always good anyway.
Top 7 reversed, isn't it? Top 7 of the championship reversed.
Top 12 championship, but obviously there was missing people, so yeah,
right, okay,
it's bunched up. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Right, sorry, Jack, I've got to let you go. Nice to chat to you, and we'll potentially chat to you after race 3.
No worries, mate. You too.
Right, well, Jack to another Jack, and then shooting over to another Jack. Jack, Sam, that was a good race, wasn't it? Those drivers seem very chipper, and the biggest thing to take away from that is they're all focused on trying to have fun in this championship, which is exactly what we want to hear.
Yes, they all are having a good. It sounds like they're having a good race and just trying to focus on having a good time.
Which there's nothing wrong with that either. It's competitive with a well, it's fun with a slice of competitive nature around it as well, of course. So the championships on the line, not necessarily absolutely massive prizes. VRRC used to run huge prizes, sim setups and everything like that. Then all of a sudden they got a little bit too sort of political, I think, and then they brought it back to just having fun on the sim with that competitive nature and that stewarding, and that's exactly what we hope to see in this race number 2, because we are back underway, and there's a 3-way battle going into the first corner with Catherine Potter, Caden Cook, and Paul Laramie. Paul Laramie is the driver that gets the best start out of that one. Rich Hayden, look at him coming through. He's into 4th place. He may well end up on the outside, although that's a firing. Not entirely sure who that is, actually. Is that Caden Cook? I'm sure that Rich is not going to be particularly pleased with the fact he's seen himself be lunged into that one as well. There's still contact to the spinning driver of John Jones, sorry, as I get something caught in my nose a little bit there. It's Andy Dorman in 5th place, Lee Piercy in 4th, Catherine Potter in 3rd, Paul Laramie 2nd, but Jamie Page is the driver that leads the way by 2 seconds, as well as there's a big lunge from the inside on Rich Hayden. That's by Thomas Potter. Not entirely sure he was actually on the track when he made the apex, but he was sort of semi-near there, and Rich Hayden has the position back, so I'm sure there won't be any arguments for the time being. But that is Jack Smith. Look at him come through into 8th place already and is sniffing around the likes of Rich Hayden. But first of all, he actually needs to dispatch his 2nd place competitor in the championship, Thomas Potter, who's currently just had to slot behind him in 9th. And then there's Chris Blakey in 10th, 2nd place in race number 1. We've just heard from a couple of those drivers in that battle. One driver we heard of, but I cannot see anywhere, is 15th place Scott Bugner. Maybe had a little bit too much contact or not enough opportunistic driving from him in the first couple of corners. But Lee Piercy is piling the pressure on Catherine Potter, Jack, and this is going to be another move into Stowe.
Yes, looks to be a very good move so far. Very clean move. So
clean and fast is exactly what we want to see, isn't it? He goes a little bit wide, though, as look at that, Jamie Page is coming into the pits, and I believe that will be down to a jump start. He's been given a drive-through penalty, which is slightly rare to see, as Chris Blakey and Thomas Potter positively coming from about 3 postcodes back. Chris Blakey there on Potter, managing to not make contact, which is quite miraculous. Rich Hayden going through on Caden Cook, but Jack Smith has got through both of them, or they're going to try and make it 3 wide. going through Abbey. No, they don't, thank God, because that was going to be a massive crash if they were going to attempt that. But Rich is now just behind Jack yet again after dispatching from Caden Cook. This is Andy Dorman trying to defend from Lee Piercy. No, it's not. It's Catherine Potter. Andy Dorman overtaking Catherine Potter. My apologies. I got that slightly wrong. Lee Piercy is about 0.8 of a second up the road. You can see him there. He's in second place and catching up Paul Laramie now. Where did Jamie Page come out on? The 14th place. Came, actually, got purple sector 3. A sector 3 that I don't think is going to be beaten because he cut half the circuit by coming into the pit lane. So even though he was on the pit limiter and he wasn't able to speed through the pit, it does probably mean that it's going to be a fastest sector 3. It's going to be a very slow sector 1 though, so I don't think fastest lap is in any kind of threat. Speaking of fastest lap, we'll get to that when they next come round, but I imagine it's going to be the likes of Jack Smith because they're catching up to Catherine Potter at a rate of knots. Now, Jack, the first lap has all calmed down. People are starting to assess where they are as two drivers hit each other. And I did not see, was it Callum Einstone and Jamie Page potentially? I think Scott Bugner was involved with that as well because he's still in 15th place. I was about to say people start calming down slightly on the second lap, don't they, Jack? But it looks like Lee Piercy is going to try for the move on Paul Laramie.
Yes, I think you spoke a little bit too soon there, and Lee does have the line, and Paul looks to be.
Paul's in the. Paul has just about held on to the position, hasn't he, for the time being? And speaking too soon is basically my CV for commentary. To be honest, I like to call things before they happen, then see it erupt into my eyes and go completely the opposite direction. Andy Dorman, though, in third place, is catching up to these two, and the more that they battle, the stronger his position is going to be. Jack Smith, unsurprisingly, fastest lap of the race. What's your what's the likelihood of him being able to win this race, do you think, Jack?
I think he's got a good chance at winning it because he does definitely have the pace. Like looking from the back, that last race, he definitely has the pace to win it. But it's whether he can just get through the pack in time. I know 15 minutes is a long time, but it's not long enough.
So you're going for potentially a top 3, but maybe not the race win for Jack Smith then? I'm putting you on the spot here, Jack. It's what I like to do with my new commentators.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens. Catherine Potter is certainly trying to not give it up without a fight, but in the end, Jack Smith does get through, and he's only got 3 drivers to get through. 2.8 seconds may not take him that long a time, considering they're probably going to be starting to battle towards the front end. One driver who I'm slightly surprised we're not seeing a stronger evening from is Thomas Potter. And Dave says hello there, Jack. Hello, Dave. It's been a very long time since I've chatted to you in the YouTube chat. Where's Josh Martin and why isn't he racing? Rich Hayden's pushing Chris Blakey. Daniel Heaps is taking advantage. Flash of the lights by Rich Hayden. I think he's either apologising or he's probably saying, why are you brake checking me? Flash of the lights is never a friendly suggestion in motorsport, Jack, is it?
No, not at all. I'd say flashing the lights is just a little bit of using the horn, but there's no horn, so just flash the lights instead.
Yeah, it's a signal to move out my way or basically be moved. Or what on earth are you doing in the politest sense of the word?
Yeah.
Probably much more choice words, I imagine, that could be said inside a cockpit of a race car, but we're not going to repeat them in the comments box, are we?
No, definitely not.
Jave says Josh has a girlfriend now. Well, that is no excuse for not sim racing, unless she thinks it's a bit nerdy, in which case she's right, but equally dumper. Right, look, Paul Laramie is leading, but Lee Piercy and Andy Dorman are throwing everything. Speaking of Andy Dorman, I've just seen him at least offer at least 2 different corners. I mean, there's pushing the limits, and then there's somewhat ruining your chances, but he's still in that 3rd place, isn't he? How long until these 3 really start lunging each other?
I'm giving it about 3 corners maximum.
Yeah, I think at that point, I do think Jack Smith is going to use all his wily knowledge to probably find his way through as Chris Blakey gets back through on Daniel Heaps. Remember, Daniel did overtake both Chris and Rich into through cops, shall we say, after Chris slowed up a little bit. Heaps is looking up the inside as we shoot towards Andy Dorman. And I think Dorman is not able to produce the move just yet. I thought we were shooting to him because maybe there was an opportunity for a change, but Chris Blakey still holds on to that position from Daniel Heaps for the time being. Whipped hard. Dave, there's no need. I'm not going to continue the slander of, I'm sure, what is a lovely woman in Josh's life. I'm not gonna get into that conversation as Rich Hayden and Daniel Heaps. That's the second time Rich has made contact with someone going through Cop's corner, and it's gonna sacrifice another position, this time to Jamie Page. Where on earth is Lee Piercy going? Lee Piercy basically cutting an entire corner there, Jack, and basically giving up the position to Andy Dorman.
I mean, I don't really know what to say about that one.
He just missed it, didn't he? Just sort of drove straight on. It's a difficult corner to master, don't get me wrong, but do you think there was just maybe hit the sausage curb on the right-hand side or something like that, and the car gets unsettled? It is safer to just go straight on and concede the position than it is to try and catch it and then the car rotate the other way.
I think he might have just went, from my perspective, I think he might have just went in a little bit too hot and then realised he didn't have the front end grip and just had to straight line it.
Yeah, well, you're potentially right. I mean, we heard Chris Blakey, I think it was, or Scott Bugner, I think it was Chris Blakey, saying that there is a lot of understeer in this car. So maybe it was a case of, he's just pushed a little bit too hard. There was a lot of understeer, and he thought it was just a safer bet to go around the outside. But regardless, he's got Jack Smith now pressuring him from the outside, ironically, going through farm. And Jack is not going to give this one up because he's going for that cutback. You know exactly what he's looking for. But from inside the car, from Lee Piercy's position, it's a lot harder to stop than it looks, isn't it, Jack? When people are piling so much pressure on and they're filling your mirrors, it's very intimidating.
Oh, it is very intimidating. I would not like being in his situation right now.
And
but
that intimidation works.
Jack looks like he got it. Maybe he can stick around the outside.
Looked like it worked, didn't it? But it seems that they, in the end, he couldn't quite get the throttle down, and Lee Piercy held on to the inside for Luffield. But going through Cobbs, oh, Jack, this is going to be a little bit tight, isn't it? Because we mentioned in the first race, you don't often see side-by-side working through Cobbs. Lee Piercy gives it up. Good racing there from the two of them.
That's definitely not delicate braking. Definitely not.
No, nothing delicate about that whatsoever, was it? It was straight through. But to be fair, it was clean.
It was clean, yes.
So as Paul Laramie leads the way still, he's actually done a really good job. Now, I've watched Paul Laramie for a number of years, racing in VRRC. He's a good driver. He'll probably say himself that he's not necessarily race-winning pace as a driver, but on reverse grids, all you really need to do is keep yourself out of trouble and keep the pace consistent, don't you, Jack? It makes the job a lot harder for the faster drivers trying to carve through the traffic.
Yeah, it is a lot harder, but it is like they have to pick, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Where to be.
Oh, well, I think there's going to be a switch actually in first place, because as we were just singing the praises of Paul Laramie, he went a little bit wide, got too squirrely, and Andy Dorman has forced the move on him as Jack Smith almost makes it 3 wide, but actually it's a race-leading move. Jack Smith goes from third to first in the space of a straight, the Hamilton Straight, the only part of the Silverstone circuit that is named after a racing driver. Jack Smith makes it his own, and he's gone into first for the time being, though Andy Dorman, that's a massively late break. He's going to miss the apex by about 3 postcodes as well. He's going to not have the opportunity, but look who's come to play. Thomas Potter has caught these drivers up. He's overtaken Paul Laramie, who's gone from first down to 5th in the space of about a third of this lap. Jack Smith holds on to the lead. He said it was very hard to win race 1. It's proving very hard to win race 2, because that's a massive lunge by Lee Piercy. I actually think it's worked in favour of Jack Smith, because if anything, Lee Piercy scared off Andy Dorman and made sure that he didn't actually get the turn in that Dorman was hoping for. So Jack Smith does lead the way. Lee Piercy is back up to 2nd place. I don't know if that was his tactic all along, Jack, or whether he was actually trying to go for that race lead. What do you think?
Not too sure, but I did speak too soon before about Jack might not have enough time in this race, and he's done it in about 8 minutes. So
yeah, It's fine. It's your second time watching Jack Smith. Trust me, he could get from 12th to 1st within 8 minutes. So it's not surprising that he's there right now, especially with some of the drivers that are around him. But it wasn't made easy for him, was it? He's absolutely brilliant driving from the likes of Piercy, Dorman, Potter, Laramie, Smith. They all had a part to play in that battle.
Yeah, they all are doing very brilliant drives. Well, it looks to be there's going to be a lot of fighting going into the next corner. I can't think what it's called.
It's all right. Whenever I just forget a name, I just call it a chicane. Thomas Potter fires his way into the chicane. It's the Vale chicane, I think, isn't it? Or Club Corner? That might have been Club Corner and into Vale, actually, thinking about it. I don't have a track map in front of me. Normally, when I'm commentating, I have a track map in front of me. But regardless, Thomas Potter knocked through Paul Laramie. But Andy Dorman is the next one on his hit list. And he's going through Abbey. Thought there was going to be contact there. Lee Piercy's done a really good job, actually, at holding on to the back of Smith's car. Potter has just about managed to find a little cheeky space up the inside. Now, I don't know about you, Jack, but I think that was fairly fair because there was just enough space for Potter to stick his nose at the inside. The contact, unfortunate, unless your name's Paul Laramie.
It's very good. It was a nice lunge. It just didn't look like any of the cars were turning. And...
No, it did look out of control by the time he got to the corner, which obviously you need to be in control when you actually hit the brakes, don't you? If you're going to make a move like that, I will give you that. And you were telling me that in the Fiesta Juniors, there's been a little bit too much of that uncontrolled nature, isn't it? It's very frustrating as a driver.
It's not really much uncontrolled. It's just more like forgetting there's a brake pedal and using people as a brake.
Yeah, it's also painful in multiple ways as well. I'm guessing you've been the victim of people maybe heading into the backside of you a couple of times this season then by the sounds of it.
Oh, yeah, I've had... My rear bumpers doesn't look like a rear bumper anymore.
Do you have your car wrapped or is it just in white?
It is just in white and then I put some stickers on it.
Yeah, I gave up wrapping my car as well, my front bumper and my rear end as well. Just wasn't worth the money if you go through to a weekend. Janetta used to love me. The parts department basically made a profit off my racing alone. Andy Dorman going wide, going to try and take the outside line. Oh, as Paul Laramie goes for a spin. I think Lee Piercy was also trying that outside line on Jack Smith, which could well actually work. Look at the race for the race lead. This could be quite significant as Jack Smith is having to defend hard against Lee Piercy. He said he was sweating buckets after the first race. I'm pretty sure a paddling pool is forming in Jack Smith's room right now at university. And unless he's graduated, he may well have graduated by now. I'll catch up with him afterwards and ask. But he's absolutely having to work hard regardless because Lee Piercy is throwing everything around the outside. And I think he's done it, Jack.
I think he has done it. But I would not like to see his room after race 3.
That's very true, actually, isn't it? He'll have to paddle his way over to the toilet if he wants to go there. It's very, very tight indeed as Andy Dorman is now knocking on that door. I say it every single race. I promise it's not a pun, but it's just a phrase. But Andy is right there and looking like he's measuring up a move. Jack Smith goes for the move as Lee Piercy, goes to fend that one off. He goes wide as a consequence. Can he get the car back in for the apex? As he'd think he's just about done as I sneeze halfway round that corner. I sort of half sneeze. Apologise if you heard that. But Lee Piercy holds on to it. Jack Smith is in second place still. I do get the impression that Jack isn't really forcing the issue, but he is trying to find every which way to go. Lee Piercy is proper racing right now as Jack Smith goes wide. Shut up, Dave, in the YouTube chat. It's the only thing I've got going for me as a commentator. As he drops back down to third place. Andy Dorman's made his way through. And Thomas Potter is also interested. There's contact. There was no space there whatsoever, Jack. And he just about manages to hold on. The safer option was going straight on Jack Smith there.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that is brilliant knowledge of just going straight. Because most people would have just tried and held it and then caused a big pile up.
Well, to be fair, I don't think Potter would have come out with that one particularly covered in glory, would he? Because it was a little bit of a look up and inside of a corner that you're never going to make the move. There's no need to have a lunge there, and there's not much of a braking zone anyway. So the likelihood of that lunge is probably nil point. And luckily, Jack Smith actually held on to the move, held on to the slide, and didn't lose any further places. Otherwise, Thomas Potter could have ended up with a little bit of a penalty coming his way. Really impressed by Lee Pearcey. We've got to vote for a driver of the round after all 3 races, and I have to say, Lee's drive here in race number 2 is certainly up there, in my opinion, with an opportunity to get some of those votes. Dorman doing a fantastic job as well. Jack Smith not really able to make any kinds of moves stick here, and I wonder how much life left in his tyres. We've got 2 minutes. This may well be the penultimate lap rather than the final lap. Part of me hoping it's the penultimate lap as well, actually, to be fair, because it's been a great race so far. As Smith looks up the inside, but look, Dorman's still there on the outside. He's still going to have the apex going into left field. There's a little bit of it. Yep, hip and shoulder. Move out the way. You're not having this championship all to yourself. Love that from Andy Dorman.
I love this. I love this onboard perspective. It's brilliant to see them all racing like this. But
it puts into perspective exactly how much they can see when we're watching it from the sort of broadcast cameras. Oh, there's contact.
Ooh.
Jack Smith comes off the throttle, does the right thing, doesn't continue to push Andy Dorman through, but Thomas Potter could take advantage here, going through the left into Maggots and Beckett. Potter versus Dorman. And Potter doesn't get the move done just yet, but he may well have got through, and he has on Jack Smith. This right here, Jack, you're seeing an extremely rare occurrence. Jack Smith is going backwards in a race. This is quite incredible. After making his way all the way through, and Lee Pearcey leading it by 1.3 seconds. This is truly special. Race 2 here at Silverstone. You mentioned earlier on that Silverstone, it's a good place to come racing. It's a good track. You know it well. Everybody always enjoys it. As Thomas Potter gets a tag from Jack Smith going into Club Chicane. Can they manage to hold on to it without making contact? Just about holding on to it, but they did make contact. Potter is in 3rd place. Dorman's pulling away in 2nd now.
this is going on to the last lap now, so see what all unravels itself.
Yeah, we just pray to God that this doesn't end in unfortunate contact. I can see Becky typing in the Discord, so I wonder if she's going to give us some background information. I know she's out there watching the racing this time round rather than actually being on the comms box, as Chris Blakey yet again waves goodbye to the apex. Doesn't get dropped, to be fair. He actually recovers it relatively well. But it is really fascinating to see the backwards sort of glance from Thomas Potter here, as Jack Smith not close enough to really look for the lunge. This would be really too far back to go for it, and Jack Smith is far smarter than that. But he's only got a handful of corners left to make any kind of move to get back on the podium here, Jack. And to be honest, I'd be fascinated to chat to him again, but I'm sure Thomas Potter will be elated to come in and have a word if he can hold on to this podium, because he's driven really well as well.
Yes, them two have both driven very, very well this evening. But it does look
feeling left out.
it does look like Jack might be able to push a little lunge going into the last corner.
Yeah, going to Stowe, particularly.
Or going to Maggots and Beckett's now, because it looks like he's just moved out.
He did move out, didn't he? But I wonder if that's more of a psychological race move, I like to call them, where you sort of throw the fake, the driver misses a brake zone, and you sort of get the moves a little bit easier without actually having to do anything. Lee Pearcey going down towards Stowe, 0.4 of a second to the good. He was half a second to the good. Actually, he's bleeding lap time quite quickly as Dorman got into the slipstream. But as they go through Stowe, Smith hasn't made the move on Thomas Potter. Lee Pearcey is still in the lead of this race. Dorman throwing so much speed through that he actually went off the circuit. There's too far a lunge back for Dorman to do anything, so it's going to be Lee Pearcey, as long as he keeps it together, Jack, for the final corner, is going to take the race victory here at Silverstone. He is going to. A great victory from Lee Pearcey. That's not your typical reverse grid victory. He had to fight for it, and against champions as well. Fantastic race by him. I cannot wait to have a chat with him, Andy Dorman in 2nd place, and Thomas Potter, who came in 3rd. Jack Smith goes back to the pits instantly after finishing in 4th place. Chris Blakey rounds out the top 5. Jamie Page in 6th place. Rich Hayden in 7th. completely lost track of Rich, to be honest. That's an 8th place and a 7th place finish for him. Paul Laramie in 8th, Scott Bugner in 9th, and Caden Cook in 10th place. Wow. And apart from a bit of light bullying from Dave in the chat, that was an absolutely sensational race, and I really, really enjoyed it. Cannot wait to chat to a few of these drivers. Jack, one last thing from you. I mean, that was sensational, wasn't it? I mean, if the first race was a little bit tactical, that one was all out war.
Oh, that one's more like racing. Everyone's switching positions and doing really well. So I did like that race. Oh,
Yeah, it was really, really good. So we jump now to another advert break before we get going with the next interviews and, of course, the third race of the evening. Back in a sec. Well, back with more interviews and a driver who I did actually see relatively recently at Brands Hatch the other week is Thomas Potter. 3rd place for you, and my goodness, that was hard work, wasn't it?
Yeah, thank you, and I don't know which was more hard work, me getting out of bed in the morning to come to the touring car meetings or that race.
Well, I can imagine being a teenager, it was probably getting up in the morning. But I can appreciate the fact that that race was very difficult. The likes of Jack Smith fighting constantly with you. There was a little bit of contact here and there, wasn't there, from both him on you and you on him and everything like that. Did you feel like there was anything there that might be called to the stewards?
I think maybe 1 or 2, but I think also most of them were really just hard racing between all the top 5, and to be honest, it could have easily been against the top 7 for the lead, that one.
It could have been, actually, yeah. I mean, reverse grid-wise, you didn't really get up to the front of the order particularly quickly, did you? But once you were there, you really looked like you belonged in terms of the raw pace. After that race 1, where we didn't really chat about you that much, apart from a couple of quick sector times, do you feel like that's a bit of a relief, considering you are in 2nd place in the championship, to get that positive result over your championship rivals?
Yeah, so I mean, it's all good, but I think for a reason you don't really see me at the start is I think my pressure is just too low. I mean, I've got first 5 laps, I've no pace, no nothing really, even first 6 or 7. But after that, I seem to just find a groove and just start lapping and lapping and lapping. So might have to up my pressure maybe by 1 all round, and hopefully that helps me out. And as well as that, hopefully I need to work on my starts ready coming into this last race and last round, because that is definitely a big factor on why I am there on the start.
It is really surprising, isn't it, to be honest, that we go into these sort of races and we always say everything's equal setup, everybody's on a fair playing field, but pressures, rear wing, brake bias, they can all play a huge factor, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'd think 1 PSI would not change anything, but it's the difference between getting good laps, getting there at the start, and being nowhere.
Yeah, and if you put them up too high, obviously you cook your tyres early on, and then when it actually comes down to the sort of important bit of the race, which is of course when the checker flag's about to drop, you could end up 2, 3, 4 tenths off the pace, can't you? So it's a really balancing act.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's probably the reality of racing. It's you've got to get the setup right more than the driver, realistically.
Yeah, it is indeed. Right, Thomas Potter, congratulations on that 3rd place. We're going to let you go. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
And didn't think you were going to say it at the end, but luckily you did. Yeah, huge thanks to everyone on my car, Katum, U5, 22 Law and Moza, as well as Rima and Toes, who gave me something for my sim the other day and over cherries. But, well, honestly, I know I've said before, U5, and main thanks to you guys for, well, he once again a test day on Monday, which was amazing. But as well as that, thanks to you guys as the commentators as well.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much, Thomas. And we'll be chatting to you potentially at a later date, if not next, I'm sure next week, when Richard John Neal will be potentially chatting to you about Championship.
Thank you.
Right, and on to second place, Andy Dorman. Was hectic, wasn't it? I mean, can you remember any of it?
It's a bit of a blur going from like 1 down to 4th, back up to 2nd, back again. Yeah, I was up and down all over the place.
But I mean, is that not the reason why we signed up to Sim Racing Championships? It was very entertaining.
It was a pleasure to drive, to be fair. It would have been nice if I could have just got into the lead and disappeared into the distance and let them battle behind me, but it just didn't end that way today.
I'm trying to rack my brains. Quite often I like to pick out 1 or 2 pieces in my interviews where I say, oh, that was a great move, talk us through this one, talk us through that one. Every lap you had something to think about, didn't you? You had a driver that you had to overtake. You had a driver that you were having to think about, defending from. What was it like defending against the likes of Lee Pearcey? But then also you had to then overtake the likes of Jack Smith, because that was hard work, but you did a fantastic move on it.
I can't remember how I got past him, to be fair.
No, I was just racking my brains thinking, actually, is the moment I'm remembering is that did you actually stay past him? But you might have actually made a move without actually, I thought it was going through cops. But regardless of that, what's it like going into race 3 now? Is there a bit of an adrenaline jump with the fact that there's like 10, 15 minutes between these races?
Yeah, there is a little bit, because I presume I'm starting near the back. So it's going to be entertaining to try and get through at the front.
In terms of, battling it out with the people around you then, how was it trying to negotiate your way through without having to, bump anybody out the way? Because there is quite a lot of contact in that first couple of laps.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of contact. It's mainly just trying to keep clean and get round everyone and try and pick all the gaps through. But it doesn't always work out, unfortunately.
Not always, but it did for you today. A great drive from yourself. I'm going to let you go in case you need to do any little setup changes, Andy. And well done for the second place.
Yep, thanks a lot.
I actually forgot if there's anybody he wants to give a shout out to there. If he's still there, Andy, do you want to give a shout out to anybody? No, he's gone. Right, on to first place, Lee Pearcey. Time to chat to Lee. And, it's a strong chance, Lee, that has put you at the forefront of the driver of the round. I won't lie, normally we like to hide it until the end, but that was sensational. Not only did you lead the race really well at the beginning, you actually lost the lead and then got it back from the champion-elect as well, with some big lunges out there. How did it make you feel?
It was certainly entertaining. And to be fair, once Jack got into the lead, I never stay with him, and I don't know if he had a couple of issues, because he was really slow on one of the straights, and that pulled me back. And then, but then he seemed fine after that. So I don't know if he missed a gear or slipped off the pedal or something. I'm not sure, but that sort of gave us an opportunity. But yeah, to be fair, it was just good fun. And it's when I first started on here, I remember racing Andy Dorman and just couldn't keep anywhere near him. And to have a battle like that and actually beat them guys in that one was good fun. I enjoyed that.
You decided to try and lunge for about, I don't know, 15 car lengths back to go into the lead. You held on to second place. You made no contact with anybody, but what were you thinking?
Well, my logic was, if I get past both of them, I know I'm going to overrun, but I might hold one of them back on the cutback. Okay. So that was I was like, as long as I don't hit anyone and run off completely. It was but I say the worst thing with these cars, if you do brake late, and you've probably heard us all mention that if you lock the rear wheels, it literally is like a skateboard. You've got no control, so then you are running on. So to actually get it stopped and trail brake it and try and hit an apex like that it's a lot harder than it looks. But yeah, just battling with Jack and then seeing the carnage, sort of 2 laps to go, and I was like, right, just go, don't make any mistakes. And by then, the tyre grip is on the front left. I think it's down under 70%, and the car's sliding around, and it's and then because obviously Andy's trying to catch me, and I just don't make a mistake, and then you do make a mistake, and it was a bit closer than I wanted on the last lap, but yeah, we got it there in the end.
Yeah, I noticed that actually. First of all, it's nice to hear that there was some logic in that lunge because I did try and rescue you a little bit because I thought, oh my days, he's absolutely screwed that up. And then I thought, no, maybe it's all part of the plan. And I asked Jack, and I'm pretty sure he basically assumed that you'd screwed it up as well. But it is great to hear that you had some proper logic in there, and you did actually carry it out to exactly what you were planning by the sounds of it. Right off at the end there, you mentioned that the tyres were dropping off. Going through Maggots, Beckets and Church and going down towards Stowe, you had about 0.6 of a second coming out of the corner. By the time you got to Stowe, it was about 0.3 of a second, wasn't it? How scared were you going into Stowe and into the slash chicanes?
Yeah, a little, because once you get wide at Stowe, it's so easy to just spin it there. So it was like, oh no, come on, just. And luckily, I see Andy. Obviously, he's pushing to catch me, and he run wide onto the grass and lost a bit of momentum. So I was like, breathe again.
Yeah, he went about 30 miles an hour too quickly, I think, with the hope that he could overtake. I have to let you go. Sorry, Lee. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to before we do?
Just Rob and my dad and the kids, and I would shout out the wife, but she's probably not watching. So, so I'll make her watch it back in a minute.
Yeah, there you go. At least you can say, "Oh, I shouted you out. You were part of it." Right, brilliant. Thank you, Lee. Enjoy the next race.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Love that. Fantastic. It's always great to have a chat with our drivers, Jack, isn't it? Especially when drivers have a bit of a personality. Drivers have to do an interview. It's like blood from a stone, isn't it? But these guys all seem to be having good fun, and that personality comes out, doesn't it?
Yeah. I prefer when they've got a little bit of personality and have a laugh about it.
Yeah,
it's a lot better.
It is, and trust me, if you're in real life and you're racing and you have a little bit of a personality, and if you go over and say hello to a commentator, you will be in the forefront of their mind from then on. The rest of the championship, you could be coming 13th, but they'll still talk about you if you actually talk to them. A little bit of a tip for any drivers out there, including yourself, Jack. Right, third race and final race of the evening is underway here. Jamie Page is on pole position. That sounds like race 2 deja vu. Hopefully there is no jump starting. In fact, no, Jamie Page isn't on pole position. My timing screen was getting it wrong. Callum Istone was is at least in the race lead. I'm not entirely sure who was on pole because, as I said, my timing tower decided it didn't want to work. But whoever's in second place has just been turned around, and I think that was Scott Ferguson. Maybe he's tumbling down the order a little bit too much. Callum Istone is going wide. There's no one around him, but he's going wide. Daniel Heaps is in second place. Scott Bugner, John Jones versus Paul Laramie. Onto the first real straight. John Jones catapulting into Caden Cook, spinning into Andy Dorman, hitting every other driver in sight as well, and that is a big shame. We used to have safety cars at VRRC. That definitely would have been one. Don't have them anymore because Rich is actually out there driving. He can't deploy the safety car. Speaking of Rich, he's in 8th place and going very wide against Catherine Potter. Chris Blakey ahead of those guys. Caden Cook is just behind, and I have to say, Caden Cook's that time, so we're operating at about the 2-minute 10th. Rich's in race 1 was about 2-minute 8. So the fact that Rich has sort of finished around there or thereabouts, he's probably not entirely happy with how his evening has gone. Daniel Heaps, Callum Istone, and Scott Bugner making it 3 wide into Maggots and Beckets. This cannot go well, Jack, can it? But Callum is the one who holds on to that position for the time being. Scott has to drop down to the 3rd place. No, Daniel Heaps allows him a little bit of a sniff to the apex, but for the time being, it is Callum Istone who is in the race lead.
Yes, it did look a bit sketchy trying to push the 3 wide into there, but then they sorted themselves out and actually made it clean.
Yeah, which I mean, I wasn't expecting. I'll be completely honest. But it is nice to see that it happens. Bugner, Heaps, Laramie, Potter back into it again. Jack Smith as well. I do wonder what happened to Jack Smith because I do agree with some of the drivers there. It looked like he maybe had a little bit of a problem. That's a big lunge by Potter. It's not going to happen. In fact, he hits the sausage curve, and I think Jack Smith, I thought he was going to come back for the cutback, but he's going all the way around the outside on Thomas Potter. He's going to be forced off the circuit, and he has to delve just back in. Potter now lining up the move on Laramie. The top 3 pulling away slightly. Potter going into Abbey and coming out in still 5th position for the time being as they go into... Oh, and there's contact. Laramie came across slightly. Jack Smith's front bonnet was there. And I don't know whether there was a bit of movement or whether there was just a coming together or whether Smith was a little bit too close for comfort. I don't know. We didn't have the onboard, so I can't make a impartial decision on it. Bugner going up the inside. That was a Callan Einstone, isn't it? So Einstone now dropping back into second place, and a flash of the lights by Daniel Heaps, who I've been quite surprised with. And my goodness me, I don't know where he was going there, but he has managed to get the move done. If track limits are a thing, well, he's just abused them. I can pretty much safely say that. Thomas Potter in fourth place. Now, I asked you before about Jack Smith. Jack, now you were right. He didn't end up winning the race from 8 minutes out. He was leading it, though. What's your prediction now? Fifth place for Jack Smith, 2 seconds off this battle, which inevitably is going to end, I was mentioning, going to slow them all down, but ended up making contact. Einstone versus Heaps, and Thomas Potter goes through into second place. Do you think Potter's got the pace to catch up to Scott Bugner, or do you reckon Bugner's got this one in the bag? It's going to be tight.
Oh, I think I'm not too sure yet. I think I'm gonna have to watch another lap or two to make a little bit of a prediction, but I don't even want to try and estimate with Jack after that last race.
For the record, that is the correct answer. I was putting you on the spot. Well done. Good sitting on the fence there, because ultimately I didn't have a clue either. Smith in fourth place. I would have put my money, and I think a lot of people would have put money on Jack Smith winning the previous race, but that's motorsport. That's why we love sport in general, and especially this one. Smith goes into fourth then on Daniel Heaps. There's a long way back to lunge. I think Heaps just about manages to get the apex, to be fair. Fair play to him. But I think from what we saw from Scott Bugner in race 1, I think he's got just about enough pace to make this very difficult indeed for Smith to come through and win it. Look at the space that there is already between himself and Thomas Potter, who we know is no slouch based off race 2. Potter, I wonder if he went and actually changed those PSIs. It is important. It is just as important as he was saying, isn't it? When you're thinking about setup, those minute changes can make a massive difference, can't they, John?
Oh, it made an absolute a lot of difference. I remember me and my dad having this conversation when I'm on the sim as well. My dad's like, "It's a sim. It won't make a difference. It won't make a difference." But when I change stuff, I can see if my lap time is going up or going down. So
yeah,
it's
difficult though, isn't it? Because as a driver, it's very difficult to learn how the changes might make the car react in certain ways, especially as a young driver.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to do, because you could be in practice sessions, change the settings, and forget there's a time limit. And be like, oh yeah, this is working really good, but it's went on for too long and it came on after the 20 minutes instead of coming on instantly and lasting the 20 minutes.
Yeah, so you're saying that maybe when you go out there and you do runs, it might take you 20 minutes to get to those lap times, but then the pressures clearly aren't right because you need that pace within the 20 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, very, very tricky indeed. And how do you find that communicating with your mechanics, your race engineers, your dad, whoever it is who sets up your car, and communicating what you need out of it? Because that's something that I really struggled with.
I'm always looking through the data and making sure, like looking on the onboard and seeing when I'm turning in and when the car's actually reacting.
Yeah.
But when I'm feeling the car and I'm coming in after a practice session and I'm like, all right, could you just drop the pressures a little bit? And they're like, well, you're just getting faster. And I went, I know I'm getting faster, but I need the pressures to drop down because the front tires, they're gone. There's no front end in the car anymore.
So it's communicating that sort of how the car feels, and you also know the technical nous to know how to drop those pressures, rather than just telling them this is what I want out of the car and then they figure it out.
Yeah. But like, it's when I'm talking to them and they're like, well, you are getting faster. I went, yeah, I know I'm getting faster, but at the end of the session.
Yeah.
I need
the pace to come earlier.
Yeah, I need the pace to come from at least the second lap onwards. I'm not looking for anything in the first 2 laps because I'm trying to actually get the tyres up the temperature.
But after that, you want to be able to push and have the confidence in the car for lap 3, 4, and 5, don't you? Realistically, especially in a 20-minute race like this.
Yeah, I would like my tyres to stick with us from lap 3 to about lap 10, and then they can start dying off. I'm not bothered about them after that. They can do what they want.
Not bothered about it until they cost you a position or something like that. But yeah, I do tend to agree with you. I I always preferred my tyres coming in slightly earlier to make sure you could actually get the track position you want out of it.
Yeah, like if I know I'm up there and I've got enough just to nurse the tyres to let them cool down a bit, to then push them again, I will do it. But if I know I can't, I'll just push them until I've got no tyre left.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. That's fair play. Speaking of pushing until no tyres are left, Jack Smith has gone and set with the fastest time that I've seen this evening. A 2 minutes 7.955 in an attempt to catch up to Thomas Potter. An attempt that seems to be working as well, because he's gone green sector 1, purple sector 2. And if he's purpling sector 2 on what is already the fastest lap that I've seen this evening, that is a pretty dangerous thing for Potter and Bugner to hear, isn't it? Or to see, shall I say, at the rear view mirrors, because he's got 11 minutes left, and that 2 minutes 7.7 is absolutely ballistic. It's about 0.3 of a second. It's 0.4 of a second quicker than Potter did in that previous lap, and he set his personal best lap of the race. Oh,
Yeah.
contact between
Ooh.
Blakey, sorry, and Daniel Heaps. I was going to let you chat about the lap times there, Jack, but there was a little bit too much contact between Heaps and Blakey, and I thought there was going to be a little bit of a spin at the end of it. Putting in qualifying laps, though, one after each other, is very difficult to do. However, it's easy to do when you're chasing someone, isn't it? Especially if you're catching up to them.
Yes, I prefer chasing people, because when you go by yourself, you think you're being the fastest person on the track, and you say, "Oh, well, I'm pushing myself to the limits," and then you'll see a faster driver come past me. Oh, I'm really slow. So it's nice to sit with them and get the toe off them and see where they're going, where they're braking, how their car's reacting compared to yours. I know it's hard to see the car reacting, but when it's under braking, you can see it a bit.
Yeah, you can see the body language of the car and whether the driver is got the confidence to throw it in. One driver that's got a lot of confidence in throwing the car in, as we've already discussed with him after his race 2 win, he's Lee Pearcey. We haven't really seen much of him, but he's made his way up to 6th place. He's about 1.6 seconds off the likes of Chris Blakey. Daniel Heaps has dropped well off 5.5 seconds from these top 3. But after that previous lap that Smith set was ballistic, his sector 2 wasn't quite as quick, but it's still quicker than Thomas Potter, who just went green in sector 2. So that is the level that Smith is currently operating on. He also purple sector 1. So he's catching up inch by inch over every single corner. There is Chris Blakey and Daniel Heaps just ahead of him. Chris certainly, I think, has Becky's, not necessarily Becky's vote, but he's in contention for Becky's driver of the round, who is, as I mentioned, taking this one out, and he is, she is currently watching from the sofa, I'm guessing. May well still be at their desk, but hopefully they're relaxing and not just sitting at their desk watching us commentate or listening to us commentate. She's probably muted us by now, as I imagine most of the people have. That's how I imagine most of my commentaries go. But Jack Smith is right up there putting pressure on Potter. But look at this. Has Bugner made a mistake, Jack? Because he was slow in all 3 sectors. It was a bit of a slow lap. In fact, it was about 0.7 of a second slower than Thomas Potter. Could Bugner now be in a little bit of trouble?
Yes, very much. As I've just seen when Jax went over that last lap as well, he's just set the new fastest lap.
Oh, yeah, again.
Yeah.
The bloke's a machine, isn't he, really? It's incredible.
It's absolutely brilliant. And it doesn't look like his tyres are dying off yet either. So it looks like he's got a lot left in his tyres as well.
Before we get into all of that, is this you wetting your whistle for sim racing? Jack, can we expect to maybe see you on the grid on VRRC at some point?
It could do, yes, because it looks a lot of fun.
Good, respectful racing, isn't it?
Yes, and I wouldn't do personally for like the competitive side. I would just do it for fun, have a laugh, and just see what happens.
Yeah, well, it's a very welcoming atmosphere here at VRRC, as you probably got the idea of when you were doing Imola with Richard, and of course, hopefully here at Silverstone, it's a great advert for the racing standards that we've got on offer. Potter trying to swerve to keep in the slipstream of Bugner, gets that slightly earlier turn in going through Stowe, runs a little bit out wide as a consequence. So the move isn't on just yet, but Smith not really been able to catch right up to the back of Potter, which we were slightly expecting, but I think that's more to do with Potter improving his lap times than it is Smith dropping off the boil, because when Smith was setting in those quick lap times, Potter was about 0.4 of a second off. Now he's only about 2/10 off, because he's just got across the line setting a 2 minute 7.986, which is about equal to Jack Smith. So Potter is crawling all over the back of Scott Bugner now as they go through Village. Can he try and get the overlap? No, he doesn't quite. In fact, Smith is looking for the overlap himself around the outside. There's going to be a tricky place to do it, but look at him going down towards Bucklands and Lovefield. That's where you may see Smith getting the move done, because he's right on the tail of Potter. We've seen him throwing lunges left and right here before. He's probably a little too far away, but Potter looks interested as Bugner goes really defensive. Smith sees an opportunity. It's not going to happen. The track too quickly moves to the right-hand side. The inside line is favouring Thomas Potter, but it's lovely to see Richard John Neal's also watching race 3 when signal allows, and I'm sure he will be enjoying it and sort of looking forward to this final round of the series at Road America. Smith crawling all over the back of Thomas Potter, trying to find a little bit of space. He ended up on the curve. The turn-in wasn't quite ideal for Potter. He was a little bit too narrow. And here comes Smith sniffing around through Brooklands. No, not Brooklands, sorry. Maggots and Beckett's and Church. He's going to have the inside line. They're side by side. This could really work into Scott Bugner's favour as Potter retains it. This is getting a little bit too close for comfort, Jack.
Oh, it's getting very, very close. It's definitely got you on the edge of the seat now with all these fighting. But it's definitely a good top 3 to watch as well.
If anybody's concerned about Becky's seating arrangement, she is sat on the sofa, but thoroughly on the edge of her seat, like Jack's just mentioned. Smith up the inside of Potter, through Stowe. That could get the job done. No, Potter, we know that he's too good for that. He'll keep his foot in. Doesn't go too wide. Smith also doesn't make him forced to go out wide either. That's a very late dive into the apex, but Potter has the position. He has the track position to hold on to that second place. And Scott Bugner, with 5 minutes to go, probably about 3 laps, has got a 1.1 second lead. And this could be everything for him. This could be the opportunity to take a race victory after a couple of weeks out. What is happening in the side of the top 4? That's heaped with Chris Blakey on the outside, and Lee Pearcey, who we know loves a lunge, is going at the inside, and there's contact. Heaps his turn around. Chris Blakey was involved. That's what I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But Lee Pearcey sees the opportunity, and just like he did to take that race victory and to take that first place, he takes advantage of the scrapping. He gets into 4th place, and it could be a lot of points here for Lee Pearcey going into the final round a little later on. I just want to see. I know there's drop scores. I'm not going to try and figure that out. But where is Lee Pearcey on the championship table? He was in 7th place, and he was only 1 point behind Oliver Gibson, who isn't here. So he could well jump ahead of him. And I'm going to ignore, as I mentioned, drop scores. That's up to Richard John Neal to figure out. I am not about that life. I'm sure it'll all be automated by the time they get there to next week, and then they can figure it out on the calculator as and when they go. Thomas Potter defending through Cops. Jack Smith's going to have the overlap. Jack, surely this is it done now.
Oh, definitely. The amount of speed he carried compared to Thomas Sue there, he's definitely got a nice old run going into Maggots and Beckett's now.
And Steve, who's doing the broadcast, weighing in with his driver of the round. We won't reveal, Jack, who we believe the driver of the round is until it comes to the actual interviews and stuff like that. But if you want to stick what your vote is into the chat on Discord, then we'll be able to reveal who it is when we are doing the interviews. Make sure that everybody is giving their say. Obviously, Rich Hayden is absolutely... Where is Rich? Oh, he's in 7th place. Been a very consistent evening for Rich Hayden, isn't it? But it's not where he would like to be. I mean, he's about half a second quicker than Andy Dorman at the moment, but he's just not really been able to actually get the track position and the race position he was hoping for. But at the moment, he has got good pace. I'm sure he enjoyed parts of it. That's what I'm hoping he's come out of this being. Chris Blakey versus Lee Pearcey. Chris has caught back up to Lee here, hasn't he? Now, we know Chris has got decent pace. We saw that in race 1. But again, getting past Lee Pearcey is easier said than done, isn't it? What are you sort of expecting here, Jack?
I've got a good feeling these two are going to be battling until the end, then find out, like, see the last lap, and then switching places like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, I think they will be switching places. You're right, and the thing is, with Lee, just because you get the move on him doesn't mean he's not going to instantly reply with a sort of a move out of nowhere almost. Chris Blakey looking at him now. Lee Pearcey covering off. There was quite a few moves midway through the corner into the braking zone there, but fair play to Chris Blakey because he didn't make the overtake. Jack, he sort of came off the throttle and allowed Lee Pearcey to remain in front. That's good sportsmanship right there.
Yes, I just drove past. And then
I imagine a lot of those people probably wouldn't be getting Christmas cards come the end of the season, though. That's the thing.
Oh,
isn't it?
no.
You do need to be... Oh, was that a glitch?
Oh,
It's all this glitch. We seem
I'm
to
watching
be...
someone drive through the next county.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. We're
Oh,
back, luckily. I think a little bit of a connection glitch. Something we don't often get in real-life racing, I admit. That's unusual scenes. But in virtual racing, that can happen, obviously, a little bit. But pleased to say that by the looks of it, the drivers didn't experience the same thing. Maybe it's just the connection to our broadcaster, Steve. It's fantastic to see a lot of these drivers. And you're right, it is the sportsmanship. You need to be able to be self-aware enough that... Because let's face it, if Chris Blakey had gone through on Lee Pearcey, it would have just probably been taken to the stewards, and then it's just going to get reversed anyway, isn't it? So there's no need to sort of build up that bad blood as well as then just getting the position reversed.
No, I'm happy that they've got a very good sportsmanship and actually let off and brake for them.
Yeah, as I mentioned, there is stewarding. Rich Hayden does go through all the moves, all the incidents, and any of the protests that get put forward. He goes through them all the next day. To be honest, it's an exhausting process. He's mentioned it to me, asking if I wanted to be involved once. I said, no, I'm okay, and don't worry about asking me again. Therefore, he hasn't. Fair play. He's a man to his word. Because it does just look like a bit of a painful process. He's brought in other people before now, and yeah, it's always been difficult. So I think he just sort of trusts himself now. It's the only person he will trust to do it. And to be fair, I don't hear many rumblings or grumblings from many of the other drivers. There's a real core audience and a core group of drivers that come to most VRRC events, and that's for good reason as well. The biggest sort of positive review you can get is repeat customer service, and VRRC have an awful lot of that. I mean, if I look at the grid right now, I can see the likes of Paul Laramie, Andy Dorman, Lee Pearcey's been around for a long time, Scott Bugner, Jack Smith, and he's not here tonight, his brother Oliver Gibson, have been around for an awfully long time. Thomas Potter, Catherine Potter, they've 3 or 4 of the names that I just mentioned there outdate me in the VRRC community, and I was commentating for about 3 years on this community every single week. So it's really good to see that so many people stick around, and there's plenty more people that we've seen take part in this championship who just haven't been here tonight. I'm just looking at the timing tower as well. Josh Martin, of course, is one of them. Now he's unfortunately all loved up, so he doesn't get a chance to actually race with us anymore, which is a bit of a shame. And a few other people that I can see that are a little bit more. Andy Carroll, Andy Dorman, loads of people that are really long-lasting VRRC servants right now, and they're fantastic to have us here. Right, final lap of the race, and Scott Bugner is being overtaken by Jack Smith. I don't really see how that happened, Jack. I don't know if you were keeping an eye out on it, but it just looked like Bugner went very slowly, or is the race done?
The race is done.
Oh my God, the race is done. I am horrendously sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I completely blanked on that as I was looking down the list of names. I still thought we had about 5 minutes left. Scott Bugner is the race winner. Jack Smith came home in 2nd place ahead of Thomas Potter. Lee Pearcey is in 4th. Chris Blakey is in 5th. Andy Dorman in 6th. Rich Hayden 7th. Jamie Page in 8th. Caden Cook in 9th place. And Catherine Potter in 10th. Don't worry, Richard John Neal is back with you next week. I do apologise for not giving it the big send-off that it potentially deserved. Okay, before we have a chat to our final 3 drivers who are doing a fantastic job at providing a really good picture for us there, we're going to cut to one last advert break, and then we'll have a chat to our top drivers and a reveal our driver of the round. See you in a sec. Race 3 is done and dusted, and therefore the evening is done. There's only one thing left to do, and that is chat to a few of our drivers. Our top 3 from race number 3, and I'm going to, as ever, in 3rd place, Thomas the Teapot Potter. A great race from yourself, it has to be said. But realistically, that was... I mean, it was quite hard towards the end. Did you alter those pressures slightly? Because I was expecting slightly quicker pace from you right at the end there, based on your race 2.
Yeah, it turns out if I left the pressure the same, I could have probably been more racy at the end, but I took a gamble. It kind of worked at the start, as you can see. I just got through the pack, and then but the tyres were still really slow to get on and died at the end, so pretty confused about what that could have been. Maybe some more testing on the actual tyre pressure next time, but overall I'll still take another podium.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I know Jack Smith is ahead of you in the championship and stuff like that, but really that 2nd place is probably the thing you want to be solidifying. And you've taken points out of a lot of drivers that were really, you know, sort of trying to push you. Andy Dorman, Andy Carroll, Rich Hayden are the 3 drivers behind you in the championship, and you've extended your lead on them. How satisfied are you with that?
Yeah, pretty satisfied. I mean, as I can say, I also could have done with 1 more place on the podium, because that's what a racing driver's mindset is, but I think I should have probably let Jack go by, sit in his toe, not work with my tyres too much, and gain hopefully both of us gain Scott yet again. The top 3 was so close on times, and so I think just my racing driving mindset was like, no, I'm going to defend this position.
I was going to say, realistically, if we were in an endurance race, or anything over an hour, let's say, I probably would say, yeah, you're learning, that's the best thing to do. In a 20-minute race, though, in a sprint series, Thomas, you really do just want to be racing for position, don't you? And you probably come out with a bit more of a smile on your face having that battle, didn't you, than just letting them go?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think after that race, I would have came back with a smile, even if I crashed on my last lap and came in last, because I got a bad start, which turned out to be a good start by the end of lap 1, so that was the best moment of the night for me.
I don't know anybody who's ever crashed on the final lap and had a smile on their face, but fair play. I enjoy your enthusiasm, Thomas. It's been fantastic. Right, congratulations on the 2 podiums. I've given you a chance to shout out some people after race 2. I keep forgetting with everybody else, but go on. I'm going to try and remember this time. Who would you like to give a shout out to now you've come 3rd in race number 3?
Absolutely, thank you. Thanks to everyone on my car. Once again, the charities, Ben Automotive, for Ollie Foundation, Maron. Although these aren't for me, Racing Against Dementia, because I know that's Richards, and huge thanks to everything you guys are doing over there. Catum, U-Fiber, 22 Law, Moser, Falcon Computers are the best ones, and huge thanks to all you, and I'm actually pretty sure that's everyone, which is also I'd like to see, as well as Aegon by VRRC and GT Amiga, and as well as everybody watching, and you for commentating, and Rich Hayden for putting all this together.
Do you have a piece of A4 paper next to your sim or something that you just read all them off? Because there's no way you can remember that off the top of your head.
No, I just remembered it. I don't know what it is, but I think I'm a perfectionist, really, because I just think of something and I remember it and I do it to the perfect, because I don't know what it is, but I just don't like it to be anything but perfect.
Well, you're going to do well in your exams if that's the case. Thomas, in a couple of years' time, enjoy the 3rd place, enjoy the double podium, and I'm sure Richard, John Neal will be speaking to you next week.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you so much.
Right, on to second place then. And Smith, I mean, this is relatively premature for when we normally talk to you, but that looked like a pretty hard race against two competitors that were always going to be tricky for you to come up against there, wasn't it? How impressed were you with Scott's pace just straight out the bat, really, after this, after a couple of weeks off?
I mean, first of all, I'm quite surprised I'm even on the podium, to be honest, because I got absolutely wiped out at the start there. I don't even know what happened. I need to have a look at it, but I just got absolutely wiped out. And I think I must have had aero damage or something, but I just got so lucky that I didn't have suspension. I managed to claw back as many positions as I could. And yeah, just came out of the wall straight on, which is ideal as well. So I got super lucky at the start there. Well, unlucky and lucky at the same time. But yeah, no, Scott was mega fast. I mean, like the end of that race, I was genuinely 100%. I couldn't put any more in, and Scott was, you know, I maybe gained 3 tenths, I think, over 2 laps. So yeah, there wasn't really much I could have done there. Scott was flying. So yeah, I mean that battle with Teapot was pretty good as well. So yeah, I just ended up selling him a dummy in the end. I was like, I don't know if I can get past him just by racing. I haven't got the pace on me. So yeah, sold him a dummy, and then I got past, and I was just head down then from there on. And yeah, we got P2, which I'm super happy about. I was trying to get as many points over Thomas as I could for the last round. So yeah, that was my goal, and I think we achieved it today. So yeah, super happy.
Well, I mentioned Scott to start with in the opening question, because the next one is more about your battle with Teapot, and that will link me into race 2 as well, which I'm not sure what your perspective of a race 2, whether you want to talk about it or not. It was a really entertaining battle from our perspective. I know you didn't get on the podium, but you got into the lead, and then all of a sudden, the likes of Lee Pearcey, Andy Dorman, Thomas Potter, they just started lunging everywhere, didn't they, on you? What was that like in the car for you?
Well, here we go. It's gonna go in the Racing Driver Excuses channel, but I lost gears on the straight.
So I think Andy Dorman mentioned that might have happened to you once or twice, actually.
Yeah, I was going down the straight and I tried to shift out of 4th and nothing happened. I was just like, oh, okay, that's a bit weird. And then I had to tap it like a few times, and then it went up. And I was like, okay, that is strange. And they did it again on a different straight, and I was like, oh my god. And I just pushed my wheel and it fixed it. But by that point, you know, they've all gotten past me. So yeah, I was just sort of holding on after that. But yeah, I was a bit overwhelmed with that, a bit overwhelmed with everyone coming out of nowhere, and yeah, and then just trying to hang on really. Yeah, no, race 2 was all right. I think we got to the front really well, and then we got that issue at the worst time possible. But yeah, no, it was fine. I think yeah, we did what the maximum we could have done there as well. I think so. Yeah, I was fairly happy with the result there. So.
Well, I mean, one thing that's very obvious from that race 2 particularly, because even with your problems, and obviously in race 3 there as well, is staying out of trouble, driver awareness, racecraft, and all those sort of things. And I believe I've been told that is something that you ended up you're coaching that now to some of the other drivers as well, aren't you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I coach. Well, I do one-to-one driver coaching now at Jack's Driving School. So yeah, that's in coordination with VRRC. So yeah, literally anyone can sign up, and I give away all my secrets. So yeah, it's all available for anyone. Yeah, one-to-one driver coaching for an hour, and yeah, I teach you anything you want to know really. Racecraft, whether it's just 1 lap pace, consistency, yeah, anything. I can help you with whatever you need, even if it's car setups. I know in the series it's like a fixed setup, so not so much as relevant for this series, but yeah, for future series it's super useful. But yeah, everything and anything to do with racing, I'm here to help. So yeah, former data engineer as well, so I know what I'm talking about. I can show you some graphs. I can explain the graphs. If we really want to get into that much detail.
He can show you his degree just in case you don't believe him.
Yeah, I need to flex it, mate. I mean, well, so much debt.
Have you finished uni now? Actually, I mentioned this in commentary, and I couldn't remember whether you had or not.
Yeah. Finished. Got my masters. So yeah, well and truly versed in the motorsport world at the minute. So yeah, you're getting a really good deal if you come to Jack's Driving School. So yeah.
Yeah, there we go. The best plug you could possibly have, straight to the man himself after being on the podium, and potentially a championship next week as well. you know, you've probably extended your lead over Teapot a little bit, given the fact you had a good race 1, good race 3. Race 2 wasn't necessarily the best, but you still were there or thereabouts. You know, next week, you're confident, you're happy, you're turning up, basically.
Yeah, going to be turning up, of course. I can't put it down to my drop score, unfortunately. I'm definitely going to be turning up. It's a lot of fun anyway. I love this series. So, yeah, everyone's just, you know, so clean that I've been racing against anyway. It's just been a proper laugh. So, yeah, really super enjoying it. I think it's a good testament to anyone who's watching on the might want to join. It's a great series to be racing in. You know, the racing's top quality. It's up there with some of the fastest people in the world, I think. So yeah, it's a crazy series and it's super fun. So yeah, if you're watching and you're not involved, get yourself on track for the next few series. I know Rich has got something in the works at a minute that's super exciting. So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
I'm excited to hear it. Right, very quickly, Jack, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Of course, so everyone at DK Power, anyone who's working on the real car that's getting made at the minute, can't wait to show some pictures of that when that's ready to go. Everyone at Sherburn Rubber, the Hop Cabin, everyone watching down there and at home. My girlfriend's watching, and a few of my mates are watching as well. I saw Callum in the chat, so if you're still watching, Callum, hello. Former teammate from the VUKC. So yeah, good to see him in the chat. And yeah, everyone else. A big shout out to Bob Shield, who passed away a few years ago now as well. So big shout out to him and everyone else involved, including my parents.
Fantastic. Right, that's a very good succinct amount of people there, Jack. Very good. We'll chat to you. Well, Richard John Neal will probably chat to you next week after a potential championship clinching victory at Road America. Good luck with that one.
I'll try my best. Cheers, mate.
Right, and before we go on to that final driver, unfortunately, sorry, Scott, I will be with you in a second. I know we've been having you held there for quite some time. But I'm going to go on to our driver of the round first, because I think we've all pretty much agreed in the Discord that we have amongst the broadcasters, basically, that Lee Piercy is our driver. And I think Lee is even in the commentary box with us. Lee, massive congratulations. Entertaining throughout, but you had the results to go with it as well. A great evening for yourself, I imagine.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it was. Yeah, last race was interesting. Starting right last, and I was saying to the boys, I think it was about 5 crashes on the first lap. So by the time we got to the Wellington Straight, I'd literally parked the car about 4 times, just missing spinning cars. So I was miles behind. So yeah, to come through and nab 4th at the end there as well was quite a surprise. But yeah, unfortunately, first race we got taken out, so we probably would have had a 4th, a 1st, and a 4th. So it was yeah, it would have been even better. But yeah, it's good evening, and appreciate the votes. Thank you.
I was going to say, you have something better than championship points, though, Lee. You have the driver of the round for Silverstone. Yeah. That's much better, isn't it?
Absolute bragging rights. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. That's the kind of forced smile we like to hear. Right. Yeah. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
No. So same as last time. I don't know. I'm not actually sure if anyone's actually watching tonight. I heard Jack's girlfriend's watching, so I need to tell my wife to up her game.
Very true. And Josh Martin's best mate Dave is watching, so you can give him a shout.
Yeah. All right, Dave.
There you go, Dave. Someone likes it. Brilliant. Cheers very much. Thanks very much, Lee.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And finally, we can now move on to our race winner from race number 3. I apologise that it's taken so long to get to you. A lot of people do want to have a chat. Big congratulations on a race win for basically a race win that never really looked in doubt once you got out there. How was it from your perspective?
Yeah, it was kind of easy for the sort of from lap 1 to lap probably 7 or 8, and then I see Jack and Thomas getting closer and closer, and I was like, oh, no. But they started to battle a little bit, which kind of sort of give me a bit more of a gap and a bit more of a cushion. But I did have a bit of a sweat on after that one.
I can imagine. How was it? Did you really? You said you didn't expect a podium after race 1, after a couple of weeks out, sort of thing. Were you sort of hoping and praying that potential rustiness with the car was going to cause a mistake in the final couple of laps?
I did get into quite a nice rhythm. I think I set like my personal best lap time on the session with about 2 laps ago, so I knew I was okay. But Jack's always got that few extra temps there that I can't find in these BMWs. So I knew he was going to be coming thick and fast, but I think one more lap he'd have been right on there again. But yeah, no, it was really good, and I suppose I better say thank you to him again because he did give me a good setup. It felt quite good and quite comfortable. So I owe him a drink, I think.
And given the fact that you beat him in this one, do you think that he'll do the favour again going into Road America?
Absolutely not. No, probably not. No, he would. Yeah, I think he's a nice guy, and we've always had quite good close battles. So yeah, I'll try and do a bit of practice for the last round and go out with a bang and have some fun.
Indeed, indeed. Is there any sort of look on the championship table for you at all? I mean, I know you're quite far down. You're in 9th place, obviously, with a couple of DNSs and stuff like that. But you're still not a million miles away from the top 5. Is there any ambition that you can grab into that sort of area? Is that sort of a goal, or are you just hoping to enjoy it?
Yeah, I'm not entirely fast where I come now. I think, like I said, I was quite hopeful that we could keep sort of Jack and his brother Ollie, close to us in the first sort of 3 or 4 rounds, but then home life got in the way and work and my own racing and kind of had to go on the back burner. But yeah, so no, I'm not fast. Just if I've got time to do the final round next week, I'll try and put on a show and get stuck in.
Yeah, that is what we like to hear. Put on a show and everyone at home can enjoy it at least. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Scott. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I'm not too sure if anyone's watching because I wasn't going to race, but I've got Jack Dickerson sat next to me. He was going to do a race for me, but he was like, "No, you do the last one because I reckon you can win this." And I was like, "No, I'll end up getting taken out," and I ended up winning. So maybe he's my good luck charm. He can sit.
So really, it's on him.
It's on him. Yeah, it is on him. I was going to text Rich and just say, "Oh, can Jack do the last race for me?" And then he was like, "No, you do it." So obviously, I owe him a drink now as well.
Plenty of drinks being handed out here. I'll think of a reason why I'm owed one as well. Don't worry. Fantastic stuff, Scott. Thank you very much for having a chat to us. And I'm sure if you do turn up, which we all hope you do, Rich will be having a chat to you next week as well.
Yeah, probably because I'm in the stewards. But yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, try and avoid Rich Hayden. Richard John Neal is the one you want.
Oh yeah, no, I like talking to Richard John Neal. Rich Hayden, I don't like talking to because it's normally me getting told off.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's why most people don't like talking to him either. I'm kidding. Right, brilliant. Thank you very much, Scott. We'll chat to you next week.
Cheers, thank you.
Right, well, I mean, that's a lot of drivers to get through, isn't it? And Jack Sant, that has been a lot of to get through as well. It's been really exciting, but Road America is a bit of a special track. Have you ever sort of done any racing on the sim or anything like that? Maybe you've been there in real life. I don't know. Cross the track very often?
No, just on the sim. That's about it. But
it's a nice flowing track though. Opportunities for the drivers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a brilliant track for overtaking, especially all the fast corners going at the hard braking zones.
It's going to be.
There's very little. Yeah, there's very little room to have a little incident.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for the drivers to get to grips with. But if there is one thing VRRC drivers are known for doing, it's putting in hundreds of laps of practice and getting to grips with it eventually. So I have no doubt that they will manage to do that, apart from maybe Scott Bugner, who said he just turned up about 4 minutes before the start of the first race here today and ended up coming away with a race victory. Big congratulations, by the way, to all the podium sitters, all the drivers, all the good racing that we've had over the course of the last 2 hours or so. The only thing left to do now is sign off. My name has been Jack Oliphant. It's not been Becky alongside me. It's been Jack Sant instead, of course, Fiesta Junior Extraordinaire. Look out for him in the ST240s next year in the real life racing, and hopefully we'll see him on the grid, maybe in the VRRC grid as well. And good luck for all the drivers in Road America for the last round of the BMW GT4 Sprint Series. I can't wait for it. I'll be watching. Hopefully you will too.
The inside of Coates.
Martin gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.